Thank you for joining us for the 2024-2025 Minnesota State High School League Officials Module. My name is Jason Nickleby and I'm an Assistant Director with the League with responsibility of the Officials Program. This module contains general information that pertains to officials in all sports. Thank you for joining us for the 2024-2025 Minnesota State High School League Officials Module. My name is Jason Nickleby and I'm an Assistant Director with the League with responsibility of the Officials Program. This module contains general information that pertains to officials in all sports. Once a year, all officials must complete this general module in addition to the rules presentation for your sport or sports. All sport-specific information will be shared in the separate sport module. In addition to general information about our officials program, this module will have additional material concerning important strategic directions in the league's officiating department and officiating philosophies. Please note that this module, again, is separate from the exam. It's also separate from the sport-specific module. The last several years, we have had issues with officials not completing all of their requirements, so make sure that you have a green check mark next to each requirement on your eligibility tab on the Central Hub. Without officials, our events do not occur. Our purpose is to provide the opportunity for students of Minnesota to learn life lessons through athletics and activities. For this to happen, rules need to be consistently enforced and events need to be conducted in an orderly fashion in order to provide a positive experience for students, coaches, parents, and the communities that we serve. We are setting the standard for what is expected and promoted at each event. Game officials have a unique opportunity to give back to the sport and the participants by taking care of business in this regard. As a current official, I really appreciate your commitment and sacrifice to make this happen. Our member schools need you, and we need you to perform at your personal best. Many details and requirements of our program are designed to help you improve as an official and to do the best in each game and event that you work. Our purpose is to provide the tools and resources for you to improve so that you and those involved in high school athletics can have a great experience. We will cover these topics, amongst others, during this module, with emphasis on recruitment and retention initiatives and areas for improvement. We want to especially focus on the expectations of eligible officials. Arbiter Sports will continue to manage and administer eligibility of officials for the league's programs. 43 state associations utilize Arbiter to assist with eligibility or assignments. We evaluate their services every year, and they are the best service available to us at this time. Arbiter continues to add increased options and functionalities for officials, associations, and schools. Look for more section events to be assigned via Arbiter and payments processed through Arbiter Pay. It is also possible that assignments for all regular season events for associations and schools will be completed on Arbiter perhaps as early as 2025-2026. Assigning this way means that only eligible officials are being used on varsity contests. We had several issues with this over the last year. Payments can be sent to officials in a quicker fashion if schools or regions choose to utilize Arbiter Pay. Arbiter for assigning is separate from payments with Arbiter Pay. The special emphasis on recruitment and retention of officials will continue this year. Fees have been permanently set for new officials, those in their first and second year, at $30 for the first sport and $15 in each additional sport. We continue to work with schools on their treatment and appreciation of officials and on sportsmanship. Hopefully you will have the opportunity to experience the Thank a Ref initiative at one of your events this season. We are continuing our efforts to provide resources and training for officials throughout the season, including video training and mechanics memos where available. We had great success with that in 2023-2024 and look to build on that in the coming year. In many vocations, a relationship between experienced employees and newer hires is critical to retaining these employees long term. Officiating is the same in that newer officials need someone they can talk to about their competitions and situations that occurred during the event. Experienced officials have all gone through situations at some point that were challenging, whether it was rules related or people management. If newer officials have a support system in place through mentorship, they are more likely to stick with officiating long enough for them to become a mentor themselves. Experienced officials can really assist their fellow officials by offering support, constructive feedback, and sharing an assignment so that new officials have an opportunity to get better one competition at a time. In our recent survey, 70% of officials indicated a desire for mentorship that supports their officiating goals. All new officials are recommended to participate in a mentorship program in the first or second year of being an eligible official. This may be done through an established mentorship program of an association or by connecting with a mentor through the league if you do not belong to an association that already has a mentorship program in place. This is really critical to keeping these folks long term. And keep in mind that even if you've been officiating for a while, you can also seek out a mentorship and would probably benefit from that relationship. Please consider joining an association if there is one in your sport and area. Associations provide opportunities for mentorship, training, assignments, and camaraderie that will support you in your role as an official. Association contacts and information can be found on both the Central Hub and the League's website. The League will continue to offer an online opportunity for prospective officials across the state. In partnership with Minnesota Youth Athletic Services, the forum is a virtual opportunity to ask questions about high school officiating and will be offered seasonally. All interested officials are strongly encouraged to take advantage of this opportunity. Please tell your friends and neighbors to join us on Zoom. Recruitment of officials is really a personal piece. Officials or prospective officials are much more likely to join the avocation if they get a personal reach out, a personal connection with one of you. It is so important to work on recruitment and retention of officials together. And if every one of us recruited one official, we would have numerous new officials each year, and we would be in a much better place from a numbers perspective. While the forum is aimed at new officials, veteran officials are also welcome to attend. In many cases, the veteran officials help with answering questions and providing guidance or leadership for their sport or area of the state. Forum content includes testimonials from experienced officials, benefits of becoming an official, and the connections to get started in this great vocation. The forum will be led by very experienced and knowledgeable officials. The League convened a consortium of educational leaders last summer to discuss challenges and possible solutions to recruitment and retention efforts for high school officials. This group included superintendents, principals, ADs, coaches, and officials. Their goal was to develop a framework for our schools, coaches, associations, and spectators to follow relative to improving the overall event experience for all stakeholders. A similar group will be charged with continuing to make progress in these areas during the 2024-2025 school year. The work of the consortium will be ongoing. There will always be items we can build on to make our events the best they can be for all participants, including officials. Look for more information in online discussion forums, training in best practices, in conflict resolution or relationship building, and more resources for bringing your game to the next level. Schools will receive toolkits that include recommendations for hosting officials, spectator management, and PSAs that aim to recruit and retain league officials in all sports. The toolkit is also available to associations on the league website. We are looking to add the concept of a pregame administrative and medical timeout during the 2024-2025 season. This meeting will take place approximately 10 minutes before the contest begins and will hopefully be led by a site administrator. The meeting will cover sportsmanship, what to do with a challenging situation such as an unruly spectator or other disruption, and medical emergency planning. We hope this meeting will get administrators, coaches, and officials on the same page going into their respective contest. For 7 years, the League has focused on the Thank a Ref initiative in conjunction with the NFHS with our member schools. The program was emphasized as a way to showcase officiating as a cool and desired avocation. Schools were encouraged to promote various ways of thanking officials for the difficult job that you have. This included PA announcements, press releases, social media recognition, or just simply saying thank you. Schools or individuals were encouraged to showcase Thank a Ref at their events by tweeting or sharing pictures through social media or other means. This slide shows a few examples of many from 2023-2024. Hopefully, all of you will experience this initiative at least once in the coming year. For many years, the League has recognized officials for their years of service to the member schools and the participants. Recognition is provided for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and 60 years of service. The Minnesota Vikings have graciously supported this program through certificates, discounts on merchandise, and game tickets for our 60-year honorees. We determine years of service following the school year completed. In addition, we have recognized officials who have supported and mentored their fellow officials through the Distinguished Service Award. Associations are also recognized through the Excellence and Citation Awards, which are awarded every other year. The nomination links for these 3 awards are located on the Central Hub, and the honorees are recognized at halftime of the Class A Boys Basketball Championship game. The NFHS has a citation award for officials where the league regularly nominates officials for consideration, and new this year, the NFHS and the NFL are working together to recognize football crews across the country for their service to officiating. We continue to seek local partners and national connections to expand on recognition programs during the 2024-2025 school year. By law, concussion training must be completed once every 3 years. All officials and coaches must complete the module if they did not do so last year. The current module is available on the Eligibility tab on the Arbiter Central Hub page. Concussions continue to be a major issue. It is imperative that you follow procedures to protect participants and to protect yourself. If you believe that an athlete is exhibiting possible symptoms of a concussion, our job is to recognize that and refer the athlete to the coach to be evaluated by an appropriate healthcare professional. If an athlete is referred to the provider and returns to participate later in the competition, officials should file a contest report so we can follow up with the school. The league will continue in our partnership with MIBT, or Make It Be There, to assist in the development of training tapes for officials. Training videos were developed in football, volleyball, gymnastics, basketball, baseball, and softball during the 2023-2024 school year. We are looking to expand and provide opportunities in soccer, wrestling, and others as we progress. The league will continue our partnership with RefReps in 2024-2025. RefReps is a premier partner and supporter of physical education and community education curriculum. They've done an outstanding job of developing curriculum so that teachers in the physical education or community education space can provide officiating curriculum across all NFHS activities. There are supports for officiating recruitment and development and retention, and they do a really nice job getting high school age students and new officials into the avocation. We look forward to continuing our work with them during this year. The league continues to add content to the mshsl.com website. The site contains officiating program information, next steps, and FAQs for new officials and association contact information. More features, news, and notes will be added in the coming year. Officials will continue to log into Arbiter to complete all eligibility items not on the league's website. Again, this is for information only, and our ADs and coaches log in on the website, but all officials complete eligibility items on Arbiter. Rules books and case books are provided every other year, so be sure to keep your rules books until you receive new copies. This year, only gymnastics officials and those that are new to officiating will receive books. All materials except rules books will be available for download from the Central Hub on the sport-specific Central Hub. Searchable rules books are also available online on the All Access site or app. The NFHS entered into an agreement with Referee Magazine and the National Association of Sports Officials to assist in the production of mechanics manuals for every NFHS sport. Previously, manuals were produced for football, basketball, baseball, and softball, and league officials have received these manuals since 2021. Moving forward, the NFHS is planning to produce mechanics manuals for every sport within the next 5 years, with soccer and track and field being completed for this school year. Officials in football, basketball, baseball, and softball are receiving these manuals in lieu of the casebook. A similar plan may take place in other sports as these manuals are developed. The mechanics manuals produced by Referee Magazine are of excellent quality, and we highly recommend that officials look into purchasing these manuals until they are part of the league's publication rotation. Supplemental materials can be purchased on the MSHSL online store on the Arbiter Centra Hub page. This purchase is separate from the registration process. If you purchase supplemental materials, they will be mailed prior to the season in most cases. The materials are available by season. These items can be purchased at any time of the year, and other items will be added as the year progresses. The tournament card process is described in a separate document that is located on the Central Hub. Please submit your application and payment for the tournament card early in the year if you wish to have it in time for state tournaments. The league has solicited feedback from leadership in each sport for 30+ years. The Officials Advisory Committee has a rep from each sport and a variety of other stakeholder groups in officiating. The committee advises league staff and the board of directors on issues that directly affect officiating policies and protocols. The committee is also responsible for making recommendations on registration fees and sport-specific rules modifications. Each rep has a 3-year term, and they are the go-to people for your sport if you have an officiating initiative to share. The current representatives on the committee are listed in the Manual for Athletic Officials on the Central Hub. Over the past 2 years, the league has engaged in important discussions about how we recruit and retain women and BIPOC candidates to support the league's officiating program. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council was created to address this need, and the council has a rep from several sports and a variety of other stakeholder groups in officiating. The council advises league staff and the board of directors on issues that directly affect officiating policies and protocols as we look to promote officiating as a desired avocation for all, but especially underrepresented groups. Each rep is the go-to person for initiative support and officiating mentorship. Look for more information and involvement opportunities over the coming year. In the summer of 2023, the league began convening a gathering of our state coordinator staff as part of the State Coordinator Council. This council is comprised of the state coordinator in every MSHSL sport. The council advises league staff and the board of directors on protocols, requirements, or expectations of officials in all sports as we look to provide consistent direction and messaging throughout the officiating program. The National Association of Sports Officials is the premier advocacy and support group for officials in the world. Based in Racine, Wisconsin, the group has worked hard on behalf of officials through training and development opportunities via publications and networking. The league has been an education partner with NASO since 2009 and hosted their annual summit in 2010 in Minneapolis. Since we are an education partner, we have an opportunity to send 3 officials to the summit with a free registration. Officials are asked to submit their interest for this opportunity in March of each year. The summit in 2025 will take place in Alabama and 2026 in Michigan. Minnesota will have the opportunity to host again in 2027. Look for more information to be shared on this outstanding learning and networking opportunity in the near future. You can choose to enroll in the eligibility tiers you want to complete at the time of registration. The tiers are regular season, section tournament, state tournament, student or minor official, reciprocity, and lower level. You can add eligibility tiers after registration if you wish to complete other tiers. If you wish to be eligible for regular season events, you must complete the regular season requirements at a minimum. If you wish to be eligible for section events, you must complete the section tier requirements. Same for state. If you complete the section or state requirements, you are eligible for every tier that is below the completed tier. If you complete state tournament tier requirements, you are eligible for all levels of play. Sport-specific information and requirements will be shared in the sport-specific rules presentation. Details will also be shared on the Arbiter Central Hub page. If you do not complete the requirements for the regular season tier, you are not eligible to work varsity contests. Keep in mind that you must have all green check marks under your tier on the eligibility tab and an eligibility badge on your profile to be eligible. Reciprocity officials are only eligible for regular season contests, even if other tier requirements are completed. Student or minor officials are officials that are under the age of 18 who complete all requirements except for the background check. The lower level registration is for officials who have no desire to work varsity contests in any sport. So for example, if you register for football and want to work lower level basketball games only, do not register for the lower level registration tier. This is because you are already covered with a background check and concussion module as part of your football registration. So again, lower level registration is for officials who have no desire to work varsity contests in any sport. For most sports, you must attend a training clinic in person or on Zoom at least once every 2 years to be eligible for section or state tournament events, which is a change from the past. Online rules modules and Zoom clinics are not the same thing. You will be ineligible for postseason events if you do not meet this requirement. You will be regular season eligible if you complete the regular season tier requirements, which does not include clinic attendance. Even if you only want to work regular season contests, you are still encouraged to attend clinics when they are available in your area or virtually. All officials will receive invitations to clinics regardless of the need to attend. If you go to the eligibility tab on the Central Hub, go to the bottom of the screen. If you have a green check mark next to a clinic, you are not due to attend this year if you choose not to. If there are all red check marks, you would be due to attend this year. In addition to clinics offered by the league, we encourage all officials to attend camps or clinics to improve on your skills. The more training and repetition that we have, the better your events will go, and you will have more fun as a result. We will continue with color-coded badges or icons on your profile page to indicate varsity eligibility has been obtained. After you've completed all of the requirements to become eligible for varsity events by completing the regular season tier requirements at a minimum, which is indicated by all green check marks on your eligibility tab, you would go to your profile view on Arbiter to see your eligibility badge. If the badge for your sport is green, you are eligible for all levels of play. A different color will indicate regular season, section tournament, state tournament, reciprocity, student or minor, as well as lower level. Please print or screenshot your profile page with your picture and badges visible on the page. This form or directly from your smartphone, including on the Arbiter Sports app, shall be shown to the AD or their designee prior to working a varsity event. Again, if you do not have a badge on your profile page, that means you are missing at least one of the requirements. Please check the eligibility tab to make sure that you have all green check marks. Eventually, we will have a system where only eligible officials can be assigned to varsity contests. The eligibility badge system would not be necessary when that is the case. However, we are not there yet, and this is the only way that schools can protect their student athletes by assuring that only eligible officials are working varsity contests. Again, please share your eligibility badge with the school prior to your contest to verify eligibility, and make sure that you do have a badge on your profile page before working varsity contests. This is a screenshot of an Arbiter profile page. Adding the photo is a requirement of the registration process. Make sure this is a headshot with your face completely visible. Beneath the photo and your name, you will see the badges for each sport you are registered in once you complete the eligibility requirements. No badge indicates not eligible, and you are missing at least one requirement. Again, please check your eligibility tab and make sure that you have all green check marks next to each requirement You will have a badge once these green check marks are present. If you're having difficulty, please call our office or arbiter and we will assist. We are asking that all officials send a copy of their eligibility badge on the profile page or on the Arbiter Sports app when confirming assignments with schools. Officials should always confirm assignments several days in advance, and adding your profile is extremely helpful to schools. In addition, please share a copy with your assigner or association if you have one. You still need to provide your profile page at the site. In several cases where ineligible officials were used in the last year, the officials who checked in on Tuesday were not the officials who showed up on Friday to work. In addition, many officials missed requirements that they thought they finished, but they did not have a badge indicating they were eligible. Due to the changes in venue or time, officials should check in to make sure that you have these details in advance so you can be prepared. This is a great time to inquire about a site manager, parking, logistics, or other pertinent officiating questions. We recommend that you take and save a screenshot of your profile page. You can also access this page on the Arbiter Sports app. The first time that you send an email to confirm an assignment, attach the screenshot, or even better yet, copy it into an email. Once you have done this, you can use this message as a template. Just update the details for each assignment before sending. We realize that producing the profile with the eligibility badges and bringing that form is not your favorite thing to do, but it's part of taking care of the business side of officiating. Verifying that only eligible officials are working through this process protects the kids and it protects you. Be proactive and show the profile page or the badge on the Arbiter Sports app to the AD or their designee without request. Activities directors and the site managers are very busy. If you can help them by showing it right away, that would be great. We had many officials who did not complete an online module or exam last year and worked varsity competitions. This can all be avoided by checking your badges and having them checked at the site, and by asking questions if you are seeking clarity. Many individuals or associations are checking, yet many still do not view this as a priority. The world that we live in requires us to be diligent on liability protection, and this is a critical step in making sure that you are protected if a catastrophic situation were to occur at your event. Thank you in advance for your patience and diligence. During the registration process, you were asked about schools that may present a conflict of interest. This should be used as a guide for you and an assigner as you obtain assignments. If you think a relationship with a school may present a conflict, it probably is one, and you should carefully consider whether you should be working for that school or not. It is critical that you are transparent with the school so that you and the schools can collectively make an informed decision. Working a contest with a perceived conflict can cause issues that can place the official in a tough spot. It is best to avoid these conflicts, even if it means traveling a little further to other schools. Again, we had several situations with this last season, and they caused a lot of difficulty and angst. Please review your conflicts and err on the side of caution when it comes to working assignments that have a potential conflict of interest. You have supplemental insurance coverage as part of your registration. You have liability coverage with limits as identified on this slide. You are also covered for medical expenses that are above and beyond your personal health insurance coverage. Note that you must file within 30 days of the incident. Treatment should start within 90 days, and that coverage is for 1 calendar year only. This insurance covers you while officiating any sport sponsored by the league, at any level below that of professional sports, even if you are not registered in that particular sport. You must be in good standing to file a claim. It was noted on the previous slide that you have supplemental insurance coverage as part of your registration. Please note that this coverage is very limited, and we highly encourage officials to seek additional coverage through other means. One option that we would highly recommend is the National Association of Sports Officials. You would need to purchase this coverage on your own, and it typically has a cost of $90 to $100 for the year. Liability protection is significantly higher than our policy, and you will receive supports from legal counsel and their staff for any situation that you may encounter. You will also receive Referee Magazine and discounts on additional educational material. You will not regret joining NASO, as they are an outstanding organization and they will do everything they can do to support your officiating development. Our policy does not provide for legal coverage, so investing in NASO membership or other coverage would be something that all officials should consider. The Minnesota State High School League continues to partner with Smitty Officials Apparel to manufacture league-approved shirts in select sports. As we progress through the school year and through the agreement, other sports may be added. Check your sport-specific module for any information that pertains to the uniform requirements for your sport. Smitty is the manufacturer, and they will provide the shirts to dealers throughout the country. You can check for uniform dealers on their website. General Sports of Edina is the local dealer that provides an opportunity to try on uniform tops in person. Be reminded that in many sports, the league has made modifications to the national rules, which is allowed under certain conditions. You must know these adoptions. These modifications are posted on the Arbiter Central Hub page on the sport-specific Central Hub. If a situation is not specifically covered by the NFHS rules book, the modifications must be covered in the MSHSL modification document for each sport, or a letter from the league must be obtained to proceed with the change. As a reminder, officials are not responsible for ruling on alleged MSHSL bylaw or policy infractions. Refer those inquiries to the activities administrator. Officials are not to make exceptions to the NFHS rules book unless there is a specific rule modification or adoption by the league. There also may be situations where league staff has made an exception in equipment or uniform requirements in order to accommodate an athlete. When this is done, the team must produce a letter on league letterhead signed by MSHSL staff, or the exception shall not be allowed. Try to be preventative by inquiring with the coach prior to the start of the contest. Do not forfeit games or penalize the athletes. Play the game and file a contest report unless it is a facility or safety issue. Now that we have covered general officials program information, I will now move on to philosophy, continual improvement, and communication strategies. When we are in the officiating business, there is a value to self-awareness that drives our success. We need to take a snapshot of our career development and make an honest assessment of our improvement or lack thereof. Every official wants to work the big game or contest. However, that big event probably should be further along in our career rather than the first game or contest out of the gate. Be patient and seek out experienced officials who can tell you about instances where they made mistakes in their career so that you can avoid making those same mistakes. Making mistakes can also include social media or other public displays. We can also learn from our mistakes and get better. A few ways to channel these mistakes and self-evaluate is to take time to meditate or reflect internally, write in a journal to document plays or situations that you have encountered, and seek constructive feedback from peers and leadership. It is important to remain objective and to not get emotional or defensive when an observation is shared with you that is not what you expected or wanted to hear. When we are officiating, we need to use a philosophy that works for us and does what is best for the game or contest. As part of developing a philosophy that works for you, you need to consider several factors, including the concept of management versus manipulation. What does this phrase mean to you? There are certain strategies you can employ to allow you to manage the players and coaches and does what is right by the contest. Manipulating a result or a play to fit your personal bias may not be what is right for the game. In addition, when making judgments during the course of a contest, you should take into account the right call versus getting the play right. What does this mean? At the basic level, we have all heard in the course of our career that we should never show them how smart we are. Just because something is on page 80 of the rules book does not mean it needs to be enforced at all times in all situations. We need to take into account time, score, and other factors. In other words, we need to have a feel for the game and do what's right by the game and its players. Officiating at all levels is hard. We've all heard that if it was easy, everyone would do it. To be a successful official or to be successful in any line of work, we need to do our very best at the level that we're at and not worry about things that are outside of our control. This includes the number of assignments and the perceived quality of assignments. If you're working a JV contest, we should give our very best effort on that game. The students and coaches at that level work just as hard to be successful at their level as the varsity players and coaches. Hopefully we can all respect their dedication as much as they should respect your dedication to your craft. We should be mindful of appropriate benchmarks for success as we evaluate ourselves after each game in each season. Working the state tournament is a goal, but it is not the benchmark of success. There will be seasons where we don't work in the state tournament, or don't work section playoffs, for example. Your season may be perfectly successful without those things, and it may be less of a success even if you do work at the state tournament. Do your very best at the level you're at. Success is achieved when you give that effort each time and have a great time doing it. As we discussed on the last slide, officiating is very difficult. To officiate or judge any contest well, we need to have a continual focus and a drive to maintain that focus for long periods of time. It is very mentally taxing to do this. As a result, we will make mistakes. When we make mistakes as officials, how do you get back into your groove? Don't let a temporary failure turn into an ongoing issue by reliving that mistake over and over. This will only lead to further mistakes and more issues. Come up with a strategy that works for you that will allow you to acknowledge the mistake and move forward in a positive fashion. We make more mistakes when we lose focus on our primary area or key responsibilities. We have a higher degree of accuracy on plays or situations in our proximity. Like fishing, we should concentrate on catching muskies in our own pond versus minnows in someone else's. Additionally, how do you stay mentally focused throughout a contest? While every person is different, some strategies may help you in staying mentally focused. First, getting enough sleep each night. I know that's really challenging with families and work, but it does a lot of good for us in the long term. Reduce the distractions in your environment. That's both at work and in officiating. Focus on one task at a time. Don't try to do too much. Try to be present in the moment. Don't think about things that happened a while ago or in the future. Think about what's going on right then and focus. Give yourself short breaks to clear your mind. If we think about things too long or too often, we're going to be stuck in that rut, and we really need to give ourselves those mental breaks. In order to focus, the brain needs to filter out the irrelevant information so we can concentrate on what really matters. So if we're thinking about what happened at work, or we got in an argument with a family member or something along those lines, and we go to a contest and we don't filter that out, we're going to make a lot of mistakes. So we need to really concentrate on what really matters. Don't think about that stuff. If we make a mistake, flush it and forget it. If we're thinking about another person's responsibilities or we're worrying about those mistakes, it will dramatically affect your effectiveness as you move forward with the contest. So don't allow mistakes to take up real estate in your mind. If you do, it will cost you more long term, as those mistakes will begin to pile up. To be successful in officiating, we need to have an awareness of game or contest situations and possible scenarios that can take place during that event. We are not looking to anticipate a result of the play. If we are anticipating the result, we have already predetermined a call or judgment that we are making, and this usually leads to mistakes. We have many great athletes in Minnesota, and they will make great plays at unlikely times. A wrestler may escape a hold, or a volleyball player may get a dig that you thought was nearly impossible. Anticipate that athletes will do great things, and you'll be ready for anything. Use preventative officiating to address issues before they occur. In the same vein, don't let dead ball or interval issues get you in trouble. When the clock is stopped or there is a break in the action, we need to have a higher focus and awareness of occurrences that can cause issues in our game. As I mentioned earlier, officiating outside of your area or primary responsibility leads to mistakes in judgment that can lead to a cascading effect that can affect the quality of your officiating for both you and your fellow officials for the remainder of the contest. Do your job first and do it well before trying to help others. If we continually reach into other areas of responsibility, we are telling our fellow officials that we know better than them about what is happening within their area or responsibilities. Even if we are right, how does this help your partner or crew? Allow your partner or crewmates to do their job, which will in turn allow you to do your job to the best of your abilities. Continue your study with regards to mechanics and rules of the game. You'll be more confident that you can handle any situation that comes up if you keep your nose in the rules book. Further, when we reach into other areas of responsibility, coaches and others at the contest expect us to do it all the time. So Make sure we limit when we do that. We need to trust our crewmates, trust our partners that they're going to do the right thing. And if they don't, that's a mistake that they're going to learn from. And if we keep reaching in there to help them, they are not able to learn from those mistakes. So make sure that we concentrate on our primary area of responsibility, keep our nose in the rules book and the mechanics manuals. If you have those, that's the best way for us to grow as a team and as a program. Last year, the MSHSL created a task force of students that developed guidelines for behavior expectations at our contests. All league events should be inclusive, and it should be a great experience for athletes as well as our officials, coaches, and spectators. We should be models of education-based athletics and activities. While AAU or juniors or other levels have their place in the sporting and activities world, we really need to be reminded that this is education-based activities and athletics, and that this is an extension of the classroom. These behavior expectations that were developed by students reflect that. It is expected, again, that these behavior expectations will be applied and followed at every MSHSL contest. Working with coaches and players is a big piece of what we do. We need to empathize with coaches and the demanding job that they have. We continually emphasize the coaches about the difficult job that officials have and how we can work together to provide a positive experience for kids. The coaches have many slides in their modules relating to this topic. We have fewer incidents and ejections compared to other levels of play, but when we do, school administration will address concerns and they are supportive of your role in education-based athletics. Officials in Minnesota do a great job of managing situations, but some behaviors require a penalty. Veteran officials need to take care of business in this area to support new or less experienced officials. When you're working with coaches, a positive first impression will go a long way. Smile. Interact with assistant coaches in a positive manner as well. During the contest, be polite and respectful, but you don't need to answer every statement that is made. Try not to escalate or inflame the situation. Bring water to the fire, not gasoline. This is called managing the moment. Take each of these situations in chunks, and you will be more comfortable addressing them as they come up. Be self-aware relative to your tone and body language. Also be aware of the amount of time that you spend with each coach. If you can explain a situation using rules book language, you should do so. But be careful. If you don't know the rule exactly, you should stick to general comments. The league and their member schools are supportive of officials and their decisions. When there are flagrant violations, coaches or players must be ejected. However, if you're in doubt as to whether or not a violation is flagrant, it is not flagrant and the ejection should not be made. Anytime there is an ejection, you must file an ejection report form with the league office. The link for this ejection report is located on the Arbiter Central Hub page. Officials should be listening and not just hearing or responding to what is being said at a contest. If you sense frustration with the coach, tell him or her, "Coach, I completely understand your frustration." Or, "Coach, we will watch for that." Or, "Coach, if it happened the way you described, then we may have missed it." "Coach, we will keep working hard for you and your players." Explain why. Not every call needs to be or should be explained, but when appropriate, give explanations. Offer options, not threats. By offering options, you give the players and coaches the choice of which way to go. The options start with the positive choices and then outline the negative choices, but it's helpful to review the positive choice at the end. Give them a second chance. All sports are emotional. We cannot penalize emotion, as we've all done things that we have later regretted. When it's appropriate, let the players and coaches think about the options you give them. Good officials can talk players and coaches out of most ejections. With that said, however, behaviors that cross the line need to be addressed. Don't go looking for ejections, but eject when the situation requires. Again, our new or less experienced officials need the support of their veteran crewmates and partners in this area. We know that many experienced officials that this behavior or these types of behaviors do not bother them. It does bother our new officials. Please support them by taking care of business in this regard. As mentioned, at some point the behavior may be too much and we need to move on to other options. At this point, we should tell the coach that we need to move on from this discussion and a formal warning may be given or an ejection may take place. Officials in Minnesota are generally more tolerant of behaviors than we should be. If the behavior is affecting your concentration and performance, it needs to be addressed. If we allow for behaviors to continue without being checked, we are not doing ourselves or the next crew, or especially those new officials, any favors. Use your people management skills to de-escalate, but when you have exhausted those options, assess penalties as prescribed by the rules book. Officiating is supposed to be fun, and when we allow behaviors to continue, it is not good for us personally, the game itself, or the student athletes we serve. We will hold coaches and schools accountable if you, as officials, take care of business in this area. When student athletes are ejected, clearly communicate to the coach stating the number of the player. When players are ejected, they must stay with the team and under the supervision of their coach or an administrator and shall not leave the gym, field, or event area unless they leave voluntarily with a coach or administrator. We are not looking to set ejection records, but some behaviors are just too much. Use the tools in your toolbox, and if those do not cause a change in behavior, then ejection is your only choice. Every time there is an ejection, you must file an ejection report with the league office. Again, this link is located on the Arbiter Central Hub page. The office will follow up to the school with every report, including contest reports. The ejection report should be used for ejections, and the contest report form will be used for any incident that the league office should be aware of. This includes good or poor sportsmanship, facility issues, or serious injuries. Please write the report out and give it to a trusted mentor or association leader for their review prior to submitting. Stick to the facts. Writing "this is the worst coach ever" or "the coach should be suspended" is not relevant or helpful. Please make it a point to file a positive contest report this year. It will serve as positive reinforcement for outstanding sportsmanship or treatment of officials by our schools. Schools are like officials in that all they hear is the negative responses and feedback. They love getting positive reports from officials. So please consider filing a positive contest report this year. The reinforcement will likely lead to more positive situations than not. Click on the link for ejection or contest reports on the Arbiter Central Hub page. Fill out the form completely and then click on Submit. This report is due no later than the end of the first business day after the incident occurred. Again, leave a motion at the door. The contest report form can and should be used for positive reports. Every report is shared with the school. Make sure it is accurately described what happens in that situation and what actions you took. We hope that issues with spectators will be relatively rare, but they do occur. When arriving at the site, always find out who will be the site supervisor or email in advance to find out who they are and where they will be located. That is the person to go to when there are issues. If there is not a site supervisor, the head coach must assume this responsibility. In flagrant situations, officials may request that spectators be ejected from the facility. In any situation where spectators need to be addressed for their behavior, do not engage them directly. Stop the contest, ask for the site administrator or the coach to address the situation, and do not resume the contest until this has been addressed. Again, do not deal with fans directly, do not engage them. If the behavior of spectators is not appropriate, again, stop the contest and ask for the site administrator. Do not talk to the spectators, point at them, or engage them in a negative fashion. It will not reflect well on us as officials, and we will be seen as the aggressor. If you can ignore them, do so. If it is too much, the site manager or coach must address the spectators. Officials are expected to act professionally at all times and have the highest level of integrity. Show respect to everyone at all times. There is a specific MSHSL Code of Ethics for officials and social media guidelines. This information is available in the manual for athletic officials on the Central Hub. Officials need to remember that we are in the public eye even when we're off the court, mat, field, ice, or pool. Assume that everything you do or say will be under increased scrutiny. This is especially true of social media posts. Once you hit send, it is out there forever. Think twice and hit send once. At the league, we lead officials in their service to consistently and effectively enforce rules, making all contests fair, safe, and fun, providing memorable experiences that teach commitment, respect, and responsibility. We hope that you agree and that your purpose in officiating is similar. Remember that the underlying purpose that we have as officials is to keep events fair, safe, and fun. Every event you work is of the highest importance to the kids and coaches involved. All anyone can ask is that you give it your best. Thanks again for all of your efforts, and never underestimate your value to educational athletics and activities.